Assalamualaikum to Madam Elina binti Nordin. We are from MAC2204B. Today we're going to present our online group project assessment. There are two cases. Before we start, let me introduce my team members. First, Wan Amira binti Wan Muhammad AZNAN. Second, NAJIHAH binti NAWAWI. Third, Amira BATRISYIA binti Muhammad IKRAM. Fourth, Zafira binti MAHADZIR. And I am MUNAWWARAH binti ZAINAL ABIDIN. Okay, this is question for case 1. Okay, for question 1A, calculate the earning per share for each alternative. The first alternative is finance with only new equity. So the formula to calculate earning per share is earning after tax divided with number of share outstanding. But first, we need to calculate earning after tax, which is the formula is EBIT minus interest times with 1 minus tax rate. So it will be 200 million ringgit minus 0 tax times with 1 minus 0.25, and we get 150 million ringgit. And next, we need to find number of share outstanding. So the current share is 100 million plus with the new share, which is 100 million ringgit, divide with 2 ringgit and 50 cents per share, and then we get 140 million units of share. Then we apply the formula, earning EPS formula. So we get earning per share for the alternative one is 1 ringgit and 7 cents. Okay, next, for the second alternative is finding using 50% on debt and the other 50% on equity. We use the same formula for earning per share, and the first step we need to calculate earning after tax, which is EBIT minus interest times 1 minus tax rate. Since we are using 50% on debt and 50% on equity, there will be an interest amount, half amount of new share times with interest rate 10%, and we get 146.25 million ringgit. Next, number of share outstanding also, the existing unit plus with 50 million ringgit divide with 2 ringgit and 50 cents, and we get 120 million units. And then we apply the earning per share formula. So the earning per share for alternative 2 is 1 ringgit and 22 cents. Okay, for the third alternative is finding using only new debt. The same formula for EPS, but we need to calculate earning after tax first. So the difference only on the interest amount, the amount of new share times with interest rate 10%, and then we get 142.5 million ringgit. Next, number of share outstanding, only 100 million units because company finance using only new debt. And then we apply EPS formula. So we get earning per share for the alternative 3 is 1 ringgit and 43 cents. Therefore, we can see the more the company finance using debt, the earning per share will be increased. That's all from me.
Okay, Assalamualaikum. My name is Wan Amira binti Wan Muhammad AZNAN, and I'm going to continue with the next question, which is question B for case 1 is determine the distribution of income between debt holder and shareholder and government for each alternative. Okay, for this question, we will have 4 steps. First one, we must determine the cash flow to debt holder and shareholder. Second one, after we find the cash flow, we must prioritize debt holder. And the third one is the balance. After we give the cash flow to debt holder, the balance we will give to shareholder. And the fourth is how we're going to find the distribution for the government. Okay, the first step for this alternative one is to find the cash flow. Okay, so the formula that we're going to use is earning before interest and tax. We will time with 1 times with tax rate. So cash flow for alternative one that we get is 150 million. For the second step, which is cash distribution income to debt holder, okay, we get 0 because in this alternative one we doesn't even use any debts, so this is why it's 0. And shareholder, we will give all the remaining of cash flow to the shareholder, which is 150 million. And step 4, which is to government, okay, government, we will use the formula is earning before tax minus with tax rate, which is we will get RM 50 million. So earning before tax in this question for step 4, if we have that with one minus with interest expenses, then we will get the earning before tax. Let's continue with alternative 2. Okay, alternative 2, step 1 is we masukkan cash flow. Okay, the formula to find cash flow for this alternative 2 is a little different from alternative 1. This is because alternative 2 have debt. So the formula is earning before interest tax times with 1 minus tax rate plus with tax rate times with debt rate times with debt. So what we get cash flow for this alternative 2 is 151.5 million. Okay, now we're going to distribute this cash flow to debt holder and shareholder, and we need to prioritize the debt holder first. Okay, debt holder we will give 50 million because this is what the amount that the company owe for that amount of company owe for that, so which is 50 million. So this is why we give to debt holder 50 million. Next, to shareholder, how we get this 101.5 million? This is because after step 1 will be minus to step 2 and the balance is for the shareholder. So what this is mean is 151.5 million minus with 50 million, the balance is 101.5 million. This is what the income to the shareholder. Okay, step 4 is how much we're going to give to government, the company. Okay, so the formula is earning before tax times with tax rate. Okay, so this earning before tax, you guys must need to know, we get 185 million, which is different from alternative 1. This is because alternative 2 has debt. So we need to find EBIT minus with interest expenses, then we get EBT, which is earning before tax, and we time with tax rate. So the that expenses for alternative 2 is 5 million, which is why we get 195 million. And the last step 4 for alternative 2, we get 48.75 million. Let's continue with alternative 3. Okay, the first step is to find the cash flow. Okay, this formula is the same as alternative 2, which is EBIT times with 1 minus tax rate plus with tax rate times with debt rate times with debt. So we get cash flow for this alternative 3 is 152.5 million. And the step 2, which is division of income from the cash flow to debt holder, which is 100 million. And step 3 to shareholder, which is the balance. So step 1 minus step 2, so we will get for the shareholder, which is 52.5 million. And to government, we will earning before tax time with tax rate. But before that, we must get the EBIT, earning before interest tax, minus with interest expenses, then we get EBT. So the EBT for this alternative 3 is 190 million times with 21%, and that's why we get 47.5 million for alternative 3. That's all for me. Thank you.
I'm NAJIHAH binti NAWAWI, and I will continue to present for the case 1 of the question C, which is about, in view of the benefit and expense of debt funding, the corporation agreed to issue an additional debt of 60 million, resulting in debt equity ratio of 1.5, primarily for the purpose of increasing its capital requirement. So we have to calculate the value and the overall cost of capital for trademark auto berhad. So first we have to find in the world without tax for the value of S. So we have to use this equation, which is debt to equity ratio equal to 1.5. 1.5 had given in the question. So we know that the value of the debt is 60 million. 60 million, how can we find the value of S? So 60 million divided by 1.5 and we get 40 million for S. Then we find the value of this leveraged firm in the world without tax. So B plus S, 60 million plus 250 million we can get from the question, and plus with the additional equity, which is this one, 40 million. So we get the value of the firm is 350 million. Then find the RO using this formula, EBIT divide with value of firm. So 200 million we can get from the question, divide with the value of firm that we calculate just now. So we get the RO is 57.14%. Then we can calculate in the world with tax. So the value of firm in the world with tax is EBIT multiply with 1 minus tax divide with RO plus TCB. So 200 million times with 0.75, which is 1 minus with the 25% of tax, divide with the RO, we calculated just now, 57.14%, plus tax multiply with the debt, which is 60 million. So we get that the value of firm is 2,277 million. So now we can calculate the value of the overall cost of capital, which is the RWACC. We can use this formula, which is EBIT multiply with 1 minus TC divide with value of firm, because we have the all of this. So we can use this formula, which is 200 million multiply with 0.75 divide with the value of firm that we calculated just now. So the RWACC is 68.96%. Next is question D, which is explain why debt levels vary across sectors and within the industries. So the answer is debt levels vary according to the business processes or industries that require large amounts of investments to produce a good or service. This can be seen from the comparison of telecommunications industries and wholesaler. Telecommunications industry has to make very substantial investment in infrastructure, installing thousands of miles of cables to provide customer with service. Beyond their initial capital expenditure, necessary maintenance, upgrades, and expansions of service areas require additional major capital expenditure. Meanwhile, wholesalers still need debt financing, but the level is lower compared to the telecommunication, as they are only involving in producing products in bulks and does not include in utility sector that provide basic amenities, and financial services sector, or known as companies that are grouped together in a sector provide a similar product or service. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Amira BATRISYIA binti Muhammad IKRAM, and I will continue to the case 2. Randy Property Berhad is planning to invest in a project which will involve diversification into a new industry. Due to rising health cases nowadays, Randy Property plans to increase business focus in the industry related to healthcare that is on the diagnosis and remote monitoring of heart rhythm disorder. It will become part of Randy's connected care business, which offers a range of platforms and devices that allows patients to stay at home while being monitored. The management of Randy Property Berhad expected to deliver double-digit growth and improve its earnings, before interest and tax to more than 20% by 2025. The finance manager of the company has analyzed two companies that are identical in every respect except for their capital structure. Their market values are in equilibrium as follows. So this is the table given. The total value of geared is higher than the total value of ungeared, which is consistent with All profits after tax are paid out as dividends, and so there is no dividend growth. The beta value of ungeared has been calculated as 1.0. The debt capital of geared can be regarded as risk-free. First of all, we need to calculate the followings, which is we need to calculate the cost of equity to the equity holders in the geared company. So we have to find the geared company amount, which is value of firm equals to EBIT multiplied by 1 minus tax and divided by RO plus TCB. So the amount of VI is 8,080 equals to EBIT 1,000 and multiplied by the 0.75 and divided by RO. We don't know the RO amount, so we have to calculate the RO, which is 750 divided by 8080. We get 0.0928 or 9.28%. So for the RS, we have the formula of RO plus B divided by S multiplied by RO minus RB and multiplied by 1 minus TC, and we get 9.28% plus 4180 divided by 3900 and multiplied by 9.28 minus 8% and multiplied by 0.75, and we get 0.1031 or 10.31%. So for the ungeared company, the value firm equals to EBIT and also multiply 1 minus tax and divided by RO, which is 6,600 equals to 1,000 multiplied by 0.75 and divided by RO. The RO is 750 divided by 6600 and we get 0.1136 or 11.36%. For the RS, we have the amount of 11.36% plus 0 and divided by 6600 and multiplied by 11.36% minus 8% and multiplied by 0.75 and we get 11.36%. Or the RS equals to RO and equals to the RWACC because due to the no debt. So next we will be moving on to question 2A2. Calculate the beta value of geared using the asset beta formula and explain the calculated beta. So we have to follow this step, which is step 1. We need to find the ungeared beta, which is beta equals to 1. So the next step is step 2. Find the geared beta, which is BE equals to BA multiplied by VE plus multiplied by VD multiplied by 1 minus TC divided by VE equals to 1 multiplied by 3900 plus 4180 and multiplied by 1 minus 0.25 and divided by 3900 and we get 1.804%. So for the beta, we need to measure both business risk and the financial risk because it will give the required return by an equity shareholders in the company that is geared. Alternative name is geared beta. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nozafira binti MAHADZIR, and next I will explain on case 2, question B. Explain the leverage effect and the implications to companies if earnings are insufficient to cover interest obligations. The leverage effect is the effect of debt on the return on equity. Additional debt can increase the return on equity for the owner, as long as the total return on the project is higher than the cost of additional debt. However, if earnings are insufficient to cover interest obligation, it could lead to financial distress. The firm will have trouble borrowing more money from lenders in future, and the company risks falling into bankruptcy. Okay, next I will explain on question C. Discuss the relationship between financial distress and capital structure and propose the consideration to be addressed by using debt financing. Financial distress is a condition where the company is unable to generate sufficient income or revenues, which will give an impact to the company to pay its financial obligation. In the simplest word, if the company experiences a period of time when they cannot pay its debt and other obligations, they are experiencing the financial distress. When the company uses debt financing, they will get a tax advantage on debt issuance. However, in reality, the more the company increases their debt, this will lead to bankruptcy for the company. In addition, if they reach the optimum debt level, the company still enjoys the tax shield, but doesn't have enough tax shield to cover the financial distress costs. Therefore, the firm value will decrease because of tax exhaustions, which cannot offset the financial distress costs. That's all from me. Thank you.